Hello guys, today we will going to see the helper resource in the component bundle. File, new, lightning component, helper resource, helper resource, sub. Let's close this one. Okay. First, let me create some attributes. AURA attribute name is equal to a value of type decimal I'm creating three attributes of a value, b value and c value of or three are of a decimal. Now let's user enters a value. How user enters the value? With the help of lightning input tag. Lightning input tag label equal to enter a value of type decimal. ARA ID. Let's create ARA ID. ARA ID is equal to AV. Once the user enters a value, we will send that a value to the attribute. Okay. So here this AV is no need to match with this one. In the later, in the controller, we can match. Match. Okay. Similarly, let's user enters another value b, which for that RID is BV. Now user enters a value and b value. Okay. And later in the controller, we are assigning this a value and b value to the attributes a value and b value respectively. Okay. Once a user clicks some button, namely sum, we will get sum of a and b value and store into the c value. When user clicks subtraction button, a value minus b value should be stored in c value. And if user clicks multiplication button, a value is multiplied with b value, the result will store in c value. One attribute is enough to store all the three results. Because user cannot click at a time three buttons. User can click one button at a time. Okay. So let me go for creating a button. Lightning button label is equal to sum. Label is the sum. Okay. On click of this sum button, it calls some method in the controller. Okay. That method I can call it as sum. Okay. Whenever user click this sum button, that means on click of this sum button, it calls the sum method sum method in the controller, and it will do some calculation in the controller, and it gives the result to the c value that we will write. Okay. Similar is the case for subtraction button and for multiplication. One is for sub and this one is sub, and the one more button is multiplication. the method you can write multi, multi. Okay, once user clicks sum button, a value and b value, the sum of a and b will store in c value. Okay, so let me display to the end user with the help of div tag. Of course, even a value is entered by the user, but still we want to display it to the end user. If you want to display it to the end user, you can write. Otherwise, you don't need to write this one. Exclamatory v dot this value. It should be as it is. And if you want to display, b value to the end user, it should be b. And the result storing whatever the result that is stored in C value, we are displaying to the result. Okay, so that means when user clicks sum button, the result will store in C value. When user clicks sub button, the result will store in C value. When user clicks multiplication button, the result will store in C value. You know, one user cannot click all the three buttons at a time. He can click only one button at a time. Once he clicks any one of these buttons, the corresponding method gets called in the controller and do some calculation, and the corresponding result will go on settled in the C value, which we are displaying to the end user with the help of this pattern. That's it. This is about the what we call component. And let me create some break tag to make it next line. Let's show this one. So now let me copy this sum. Now I'm going for controller. Name of the method is sum. Okay. How to get the values which are entered by the end user? So these are the this is the place where end user enters the values. With the help of RID, we can retrieve those values and send to the attributes. Let's see how we can get it. Let's create a variable a1 is equal to component dot find of RID. What is the RID? AV is the RID. Dot get of v dot value. This is how we are getting the value of the RID, which is entered by the end user. Okay, whatever the end user enter here, that we are getting. Now this variable a1 holds the value which is entered by the end user in the place of a. Okay, enter a value. Now this variable, sorry, not a2, b1. This variable b1 holds the value which is entered by the end user in this location. Okay. Now after getting those values, now I am setting the values to the attributes named as a value and b value. How to set the values to the attribute? Simple. Component dot set of v dot value comma a1 value. Okay, this is a value. I'm sorry, this is the attribute name of the attribute is a value, right? Otherwise I'll copy, I will paste here. second one. Similar is the case, component dot set of v dot b value comma b1 value. Now in this situation, whatever the values which are entered by the end user are stored into a value and b value. Now it is the time to do some kind of calculation in the controller. The moment user click sum button, this sum method in the controller will get called. Okay, this is the sum method in the controller. Okay, now here a value and b value holds the values which are entered by the end user. Okay, now I am taking the values. For example, let me create one variable where a is equal to, for example, or otherwise where result res is equal to no, sorry, I'm very sorry. Before going to this, we are setting the values to the attribute. Okay, once we are setting the values to the attributes, we need to get those values from the component. So to get the values, where some a2 is equal to component dot get of v dot a value. So that means whatever the value which is available in the control attribute, that we are retrieving in the controller. Okay, now where b2 is equal to component dot get of v dot b value. This is the name of the attribute. Now let me create one variable where res result is equal to parse int of a2 plus parse int of, why parse int? Actually it is in the string format. To make it is integer, we are writing as parse int. Okay, b2 parse int of a2 plus parse int of b2 sum, right? So the result, now this variable result holds the value of sum of these two values. Now once this value is having result of these two, now I am setting this result value, whatever the value which is stored in the result variable, I am setting that value to the third attribute which we call it as c value, which I am displaying here in the name of result. Okay, now how to set the value? Component dot set of v dot c value comma result. Okay, that's it. Now let me create application to check the component underscore application. Let me copy application. Let's close this one. So C is the namespace here. Extends force colon SLDS preview. It is getting loaded. Yeah. A value, let me go for 10. So I write B value 20. If I click sum, A value is 10, B value is 10, sum is 20. If I click submit, I will get error. If I click multiplication, I will get error because I didn't mention, I didn't write anything about sub or multiplication methods in the controller. see, you'll get error. Multiplication, you'll get error. If you get sum, you'll get answer. For example, sum 30, b value, sum. So once the component, you just need to reload it. 10, 30, sum. I'm sorry, b value is also something is going wrong. Somewhere we did mistake. I'm sorry. Here also you have written A instead of B. Yes, fine. Now it is working good. Now, for example, now it works good. Just refresh this one. A is 10, B is some 20, sum is 30. Okay. If you change A equal to some 30, some B is equal to some 40, you will get corresponding. Yeah, 30, 40, 70. If sum, error. If multiplication, if you click multiplication, error. Because we didn't define those methods in the controller. So let's define those. It is very simple. Just copy this one. Paste. And the method name, second method is sub, SUB. Okay. So instead of same story, instead of writing plus, you just need to write minus. That's it. Let's copy this one as well. Comma. Paste. Now the third one is multi. Control C. Control P. Instead of minus, if you write star, that is multiplication. That's it. Update preview. It is getting low. For example, A equal to 10, B equal to some 20, sum 30, sub minus 10, multiplication 200. Is that clear? Right. So this is the situation, but the corresponding today topic is helper resource. So to create helper, don't need to create anything, don't need to go new file, no need. Just create helper here. Helper resource, helper.js. Okay. So just mention, use this helper, name of the help method is helper method. The name of the helper method is use this. Okay. Come to controller. If you see the 4 lines in each and every code is repeating. Okay. So instead of writing everywhere these 4 lines, I am just control X. I am taking this out from the controller. I am defining here. And in fact, this function is expecting component. Just mention component. Okay. So, okay. Now, whenever you want to write those 4 lines, if you call helper function, automatically these 4 lines will get invoked. So how to do that? It is very simple. Control C, helper dot helper method. It is expecting component. That's it. Now everywhere, wherever same 4 lines are there, so I am replacing these 4 lines with this one. I am replacing these 4 lines also with this one. So that means whenever you want to call that 4 lines, if you use this helper dot helper method of component, then automatically those 4 lines get invoked here. Okay, so first the helper method gets called here and the result will come back to here. Okay, so it will reduce, the helper basically reduces the length of the code. Okay, let me go to the application and preview. Even with the helper method, if my functionality is not get disturbed, then it's fine. A value is some 10, B value is some 20, sum 35, sub minus 10, multiplication is 200. If you want to give some other number, some 45, sorry, for example 3 is 45, 3 plus 48, sub is 42, multiplication is 4 into 3, 120, 135. So whatever the number you give, it works fine. Now, what is the helper functionality? Helper functionality is used to reduce the length of the code. Thank you so much.